Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is the 10th of December. We're on page 29 of the magazine, and today we're gonna hit the slopes.
我们今天的标题是奔驰在白雪皑皑的世界啊。那这个英文的标题 hit the slopes 其实它意思就是 go skiing 的意思。
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good article for December.
Yeah, 12月读这个文章还不错啊，大家去滑雪去。
Not that I've ever gone downhill skiing. Downhill skiing. It's funny because to the cross-country ski world, skiing is just cross-country skiing. And then we have to specify downhill skiing. But for the much bigger downhill skiing community, skiing is just downhill skiing. And then they have to specify cross-country skiing.
Okay, so cross-country simply means you travel.
You travel on your skis.
On your skis.
And it's a very different ski.
OK 好，所以呢，这个 Angel 老师呢，因为他的家乡很多雪所以他讲的通常呢，他会谈到两种这个滑雪，一种是 cross country skiing 就是这个一般滑雪的交通用的那种滑雪就他的那个滑雪的这个装备滑雪靴也不一样。那另外一种呢，就 downhill skiing 就是下坡的这种滑雪，那这个就是我们大家一般在台湾常常看到转坡的那种从山坡上滑下来那种。那他的雪鞋雪靴或者他的装备也是其实就不太一样。
Yeah. Downhill skiing is much more exciting to watch on television. Cross-country skiing is more useful.
Yeah.
One time we had a snow day. The roads were all snowed in. You couldn't drive anywhere. My dad cross-country skied to the grocery store.
Wow. 所以呢，这个如果是那种 downhill skiing 那就是当然看起来比较刺激比较好看，但事实上 cross country skiing 呢是比较这个实用的那 Angela 说他记得小时候呢有一次这个雪下得非常的大，没办法开车这个时候他爸爸呢就 cross country skiing 这个去这个 grocery store 去买菜。
Basically, yep.
Yeah.
It was good. We were all like, wow. And he just put it in his backpack and he skied back and we're like, yay, milk for breakfast.
这都很好的回忆Yeah.
So let's hit the slopes. Let's read this article. When there is snow on the mountains, there is nothing better than hitting the slopes. If you grew up in a cold climate, you might already have a preference for skiing or snowboarding. But if you've never experienced either and want to give one a try, which should you choose? Skiing features a pair of skis that you clip into with rigid ski boots. You may or may not use ski poles when you start learning. These help you balance, but for beginners, they can be another thing to get tangled up in, which in turn may cause you to wipe out. Once you have the basics down and are up for a challenge, you can try your hand at Moguls. These bumps are the ultimate test of one's skiing skills. Snowboarding, on the other hand, involves a single board that both feet are strapped onto. This means that you can't move as freely as you would with separate skis, but it also means you don't run the risk of getting your feet tangled up. Rather than wiping out with limbs flying everywhere like you will with skiing, expect to fall hard on your bum and often as you tackle snowboarding. And if you're thinking about snowboarding, you may already have your sights set on getting some air on the halfpipe. So, where should you go if you want to hit the slopes? In short, Japan, North America, or Europe? The island of Hokkaido in Japan is home to more than 500 ski resorts and is well known for its powder skiing. Whistler in Canada's British Columbia has repeatedly topped lists of the best winter resorts. In the Swiss Alps, you're spoiled for choice with resorts like Zermatt and St. Moritz. All of those are super pricey.
这些其实都很贵 Yeah.
It's a very expensive sport.
Yeah. 这个滑雪其实是蛮贵的一种运动。
It's not the equipment that'll cost you. It's staying in the resorts. It's traveling to those places, and it's the lift fees. There's so many fees involved in staying in a resort. Not that I would know. I've never personally done it, but I've read articles.
好，所以呢，这个滑雪之所以会贵，是因为你要到滑雪的地方，这个交通的费用，还有你住在这个滑雪山庄、滑雪圣地那个住宿费，还有各种各样的费用加起来。好，那当然那个装备呢，你可能用租的，但是那也是要钱 Yeah.
I'm going to say probably the European resorts have cheaper versions available just because there's so many mountains in Europe that are doable.
欧洲的滑雪的这个地点呢，可能比较也许价格低廉一点，因为他们有很多很多的这样的设备。
Yeah. And also they've got trains, so the traveling there is much cheaper and easier.
还有欧洲可以用搭火车啊，所以这个旅费也低一点点。
Okay, so when there is snow on the mountains, there is nothing better than hitting the slopes, going skiing.
所以这个句子讲到说 当 there is snow on the mountains 当山上有雪的时候 there's nothing better than 就没有什么比这个更好的没有什么比哪个更好呢比 hitting the slopes 就是滑雪没有什么比滑雪更好了
If you grew up in a cold climate is of course the weather and the weather conditions that are normal for the area that you're in you might already have a preference for skiing or snowboarding. It's true, people who are in cold climates where there's snow, they have strong opinions about winter sports.
所以呢 if you grew up 如果你在哪里长大如果你长大你在一个 a cold climate 如果你是在寒冷的气候底下长大的话那长大已经过去了嘛所以是 grew up 好所以如果你在这个寒冷气候里面长大的话 you might 你也许 already 可能已经have a preference for 就是已经有了一个偏好have a preference for 就是比较偏好哪一个了那在这里偏好哪一个呢它两个东西给你比较一个是 skiing 就是这个双板滑雪或者是 snowboarding 就是单板滑雪
But if you've never experienced either, if this is the case and you want to give one a try, which should you choose?So this sentence pattern, they've underlined if, but the pattern is this. If you have this condition, what should you do? It's positing a situation and then asking you to make a choice.
好，所以这个是纯粹的一种条件就是请你想一想，如果 A 发生的话，那接下来 which 怎样怎样，或者 what 怎样怎样。所以看到这里他说But if 如果 you've never experienced either 如果你两样都没有试过either 就是指前面讲的两样就是双板滑雪或者是单板滑雪两样你都没有试过的话而且 you want to give one a try 你想要给其中一个这个试一下 to give something a try 就是去尝试一下所以如果你两样都没有试过而且你想要选其中一个来尝试一下的话 which should you choose 你应该选哪一个呢
You can also use this pattern with should. If something is true, should you do A or B?
Yeah, 那你也可以用 if 如果这个事情是真的话 should you do A 还是 B 这样子也可以这种句型
Now, skiing features a pair of skis, so we're going to talk about skiing first in this paragraph. In the next paragraph, we're going to talk about snowboarding. So here we're making the case for skiing. Why should you or why should you not choose skiing? So we start off by saying what skiing is. Skiing features a pair of skis that you clip into with rigid ski boots. So skiing is about having skis, and the boots that you wear are rigid. You can't bend at the ankle like you put these little big L's on your feet, and then your feet are just like stuck. And then you clip into the skis with the boots. So in this case, boots are kind of functioning like a tool that's part of the skis. So you clip into something with something else. That means these two things are part of a set and they fit together, or you use a tool to clip into something. Either way, the boots are more like a part of the skis than separate boots that you would walk around in. Although, of course, you can walk around in, but they're rigid. They're like stiff. You can't bend your ankles. It's really weird.
好，所以这个地方呢，这个句子可能有的人一开始看了之后觉得有一点头昏了，好，所以我们没关系，我们慢慢看。前面很简单，他说 skiing 就是滑雪，就是双板滑雪 features 它的特色是什么呢 ？A pair of skis 它有一双的滑雪板 that 那这个滑雪板是 you clip into 你会扣进去这脚的卡进去 clip into。那接下来这个地方呢，你要断句的时候要记得，它是 clip into， 然后是 with rigid ski boots， 所以这个 with 用来表示工具，表示方法，所以你怎么样穿进这个滑雪板呢？你透过这个东西穿进去，透过什么东西呢？透过这个 rigid ski boots。Rigid 是很坚硬的，那在这里指的是不能弯的，就你这个鞋子穿的，你这个脚踝没有办法在里面弯来弯去，像我们一般穿的鞋子那样子，所以它是 rigid 的这个 ski boots 滑雪靴。所以呢，其实各位去看一看，就是滑雪靴跟那滑雪板呢，常常是必须要合的啊，就有的甚至于就是一套的滑雪靴跟滑雪板。所以你穿的时候呢，你其实是穿进那个靴子，但是透过穿进这个靴子，你也穿进了这个滑雪板，所以这个地方它是说 you clip into the skis， 然后呢 with rigid ski boots， 或者你可以说这个 skis 这个滑雪板呢，它是有 rigid ski boots。Now,
you may or may not use ski poles when you start learning.
你可能也可能没有，你可能有也可能没有啊。使用 ski poles 就是滑雪杖。When you start learning， 所以一开始学的时候，各位看到这个影片里面滑雪的人手上拿了滑雪杖很帅哈。那事实上一开始学的时候呢，你可能会用滑雪杖，也可能不会用。
Yeah. The ski poles, they help you balance. The point of the ski poles is when you're standing up, because you can't necessarily like when you're going down a slope, you might want to make sure that you're not gone too far, and so you touch your ski pole to help you keep balanced. But for beginners, they really can be another thing to get tangled up in. You've got these long boards attached to your feet. You have these long boards, these long poles attached to your hand, and all of these things, it's very easy to trip up, fall over, and then you don't even know where your legs and arms are, and it's hilarious and also embarrassing.And so you can get tangled up in your poles, and this in turn may cause you to wipe out. To wipe out is just it's a fancy way of saying you fall down. But because you're already moving, when you fall down, you kind of wipe across the floor, the ground. So that's why it's called wiping out.
好，所以这个 wipe out 呢，其实它就是 lose control 的意思啊，你失去控制的，尤其是你在一个 vehicle 里面，你可能是开车或者怎么样，或者像滑雪也有某一种 vehicle， 有一种工具，所以你 you lose control， 然后呢 you have an accident 啊，你就出了意外啊，就好像刚刚 Angela 这样整个滑出去，好像抹布这样抹出去这样子。
Surfing also uses this. You wipe out when you fall off the board or you slide across the waves in a bad way. It's a wipe out.
所以这个冲浪也会用这个字哈，就是当你冲浪失去平衡倒下去的时候呢，好像在这个浪上面这样滑出去啊，一片这样滑出去这样子。
You use your body to wipe the ground.
你用身体擦地哈，叫 wipe out 啊。
Yes.
所以这个很生动的一个说法哈。所以呢，我们再回来看这个句，他说 these 就是指这些滑雪杖，这滑雪杖呢 help you balance， 它帮你平衡，保持平衡。好，但是呢，对于初学者来讲 ，for beginners。They can be another thing to get tangled up in. 他们可以是另外一个会让你半手半脚的东西。好 ，tangle 就是纠缠在一起。好，所以我们可以想到这个初学者呢，他可能有这个滑雪踩着这个滑雪板，好，然后可能身上有一些装备，他可能会觉得，这个好像绑手绑脚那样子啊。那如果说你又拿了这个滑雪杖的话，那这滑雪杖就 another thing， 就额外又加了一个东西啊，你会 get tangled up in， 你就会半手半脚，整个就卡住了啊。那 which 就是指如果啊，这个你半手半脚的话，卡住的话 ，in turn 就是结果就会怎么样 ，may cause you to wipe out， 可能会造成你失控出意外。
Once you have the basics down, once you figure out finally where your arms go, where your legs go, and how you slide down without falling over, once you have that all figured out and you are up for a challenge, you want to try something harder, you can try your hand at, you can try out doing Moguls.
好，所以呢，这里有几个蛮棒的 expression， 大家可以学一下哈。首先他讲到说 ，once you have the basics down， 好 ，to have something down。就是掌握了什么，搞定了什么。其实我觉得各位去想，搞定了哈，定就是 down 嘛啊，所以你搞定了这东西，我知道了，我搞定了啊。所以这个地方讲到说 ，once you have the basics down， 这基本的东西 ，the basics 就是指基本的东西。这些基本的东西你搞定了之后，而且呢 ，are up for 啊，你准备好要干嘛了哈 ？To be up for 就是 to be ready for something， 或者 to be willing to do something 啊。所以你已经准备好了，你可以迎接挑战了 ，a challenge。好，这个时候呢 ，你可以 try your hand at， 也就是试试看的意思啊。try your hand at， 它是试试看，通常就是目的是要 to find out whether you like it or whether you are good at it 啊，所以你可以试试看。在这个 Moguls 啊 ，Mogul 这个东西呢，其实是雪丘啊，它是在山坡上面呢，为了增加滑雪的乐趣啊，还有难度啊，堆起的一些这个很硬的雪堆啊，所以你看到这个Mogul， 其实各位在影片上一定看到过，尤其下坡滑雪的时候啊，它这个到了 Mogul 的时候，它整个人就会飞出去这样子。好，那动作很漂亮的话就很漂亮，动作不漂亮的话，飞出去就跌倒了。Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to do.
Yeah.
But it's also scary. Super scary.
大家可以想象那个很有趣，一定很有趣，但是应该也蛮恐怖的哈。你这样滑出去，你整个人在空中这样出去了。Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever done it on cross-country skis, which are not really designed for that, but you can do it.
所以这个Angela 说他只有在 cross country skiing 试过这个 Moguls 啊，没有像这个下坡滑雪那么的刺激，但是也是相当够刺激的。
Yeah, also scary. Anyways, these bumps are the ultimate test of one's skiing skills. I mean, just getting over it and landing on your feet is already hard, and then there's the people that do like tricks and stuff coming off it.
Yeah, 好 these bumps 就是隆起啊，这些凸起隆起的东西呢，是 the ultimate test，ultimate 终极的 test 测试，是终极的测试。什么东西终极的测试呢 ？Of one's skiing skills， 一个人他的滑雪技巧的终极测试啊，所以这些隆起的雪堆啊，就是看你技术多好，就在这个地方测得出来。因为刚刚 Angela 老师讲，其实一般人呢，你经过这个Moguls 飞起来之后，如果能平稳的落地已经很棒了啊。那但是呢，有些厉害的人，他在这个 Mogul 冲出去之后，他还在空中能够打这个有滚翻啊，会有各种动作啊，好，那就是他的技术了。
So we've just described what skiing is, the problems learning it, and then where you can go with when you get good at it. So now we're going to do this with snowboarding too. We're going to describe what it is, we're going to describe how it is to learn it, and then we're going to show you or tell you about what you can do with it. So you can kind of see the structure of this article. The very first paragraph was, oh, hey, how do you choose what you want to learn? Then we tell you about each one. And then in the end, we tell you where you can go to do these things.
好，所以我们看到第三段，第一段告诉你说，如果你想要试试看滑雪的话，你要选哪一个呢？然后第二段呢，告诉你这个 skiing 的特色。那接下来第三段就是要告诉你单板滑雪的特色了。那在下一段，他就会告诉你说，那如果你要滑雪的话，去哪边滑雪？所以这样这个文章结构是这样的。
So snowboarding on our third paragraph. Snowboarding, on the other hand, involves a single board. It's just one piece of wood that both feet are strapped onto. Once you're strapped into your snowboard, you can't get off and go to the bathroom and come back without some trouble.
好，所以呢，他讲到说这个单板滑雪呢，在另外一方面 ，on the other hand, involves 就是这个用到、牵涉到或者它用到一个单板a single board。那这个板子呢，你两只脚都会 strapped onto strap 就是绑所以其实蛮麻烦的。你如果穿上了这个 snowboard 的话，你如果说像刚刚 Angela 讲，你如果要去洗手间要干嘛的话，蛮麻烦的，还要再重新脱掉、重新穿。
Also, you kind of already need a slope. With skis, you can kind of walk. You can kind of walk across a horizontal surface, but a snowboard, what are you going to do? Scoot?
Yeah. 那另外就是，如果是 snowboarding 的话呢，你一定需要一个斜坡才行。好，那但是 skiing 的话呢，就算没有斜坡，你还是可以走一段，还是有可能的。
So the fact that your feet are both strapped onto the same piece of wood, this means that you can't move as freely as you would with separate skis. So you can't just get around the place. So you have to be right there at the top of the slope once you strap in. But the benefit of it is that it means that you don't run the risk of getting your feet tangled up. Because your feet are fixed to the board and they're in fixed position, you can't cross your skis and trip yourself.
好，所以 this means that 这表示呢 you can't move， 你没有办法移动 as freely as you would， 就是没有办法那么自由的移动would 是怎么样 with separate skis， 如果你有分开的滑雪板的话，就是那个滑雪板子分开来的话，那你会移动的比较自由一点。但现在只有一块板，而且你是 strapped onto it， 所以你没有办法像双滑雪板的时候那样子自由的移动。But it also means， 但这也表示呢 you don't run the risk of， 你不必冒什么什么的这个风险，就是 don't run the risk of， 你不必冒什么风险呢？不必冒着 getting your feet tangled up， 你的脚缠在一起这样的风险，你就不用担心了，因为你两只脚都已经绑在这个滑雪板上了。
And rather than wiping out with limbs flying everywhere like you will with skiing, where basically your legs and your arms and your poles and your skis turn into one giant knot, instead of that, expect to just fall hard on your bum and often as you tackle snowboarding. There's only one way to fall, basically, and that's on your butt.
所以呢 rather than 你不会怎么样 wiping out， 你不会这个出意外哈 with limbs 就是你的四肢 flying everywhere 哈，这个 fly 倒不是说飞啦哈，你这个 fly 可以翻成挥舞哈，你的这个四肢啊在空中四处挥舞哈，你 your limbs flying everywhere like you will with skiing 哈，就好像你如果是双板滑雪的话，那你出意外或者跌倒的时候呢，你或者尤其你过了一个 Mogul 的时候呢，你很可能在空中啊，你的四肢就到处挥舞啊，因为要跌下来了啊。但是呢，如果你是snowboarding 就不会这样子。这个时候 snowboarding 的话，你要干嘛呢？你要 expect to， 就是你要做好心理准备，要干嘛呢？要 fall hard on your bum， 就是重重的摔在屁股啊，也就是这个一屁股重摔下去。啊，这个所以 snowboarding 要摔只有一种方法，就是这个一屁股摔下去。好 ，and often， 而且你要期待，你要预期，要做好心理准备，你会常常摔啊。那 as you tackle snowboarding， 当你在这个对付单板滑雪的时候，你要做好心理准备，你会常常这一屁股坐下去的那种重摔，而且会常常摔。
And if you're thinking about snowboarding, if you're interested in this sport, you may already have your sights set on getting some air on the half pipe. If you have your sights set on something, it means that you've made this your goal. Getting some air means you're actually flying through the air rather than just sliding on the snow. And the half pipe is it's a structure. It's like a curve on the ground. If you've ever watched skateboarding competitions, then you know what a half pipe is. It's like you basically can slide back and forth along on the half pipe and fly in the air.
Yeah, half pipe 就是滑板或者是这个滑雪板用的那种 U 型的场地哈，你可以这个飞起来啊，然后再落下去的，然后滑到另外一边再会飞起来。所以他说，如果你想的是这个，如果你在考虑到 thinking about snowboarding 的话，你可能已经 have your sights set on， 你可能已经想要做到，想要得到什么呢？想要这个得到一点空气，就是稍微飞一下啊，在这个 half pipe 上面飞一下，因为这种半管的这种滑道呢，你其实很容易就可以飞起来。
So where should you go if you want to hit the slopes? In short, north, which is Japan, North America, or Europe.
所以如果你想这个滑雪的话，去哪里呢？简单的说，日本、北美或欧洲。
The island of Hokkaido in Japan is home to more than 500 ski resorts and is well known for its powder skiing. Powder is the fine snow that is the best for skiing.
叫粉雪滑雪，这是滑雪最棒的哈，那个雪还是粉粉的啊，像 powder 一样。所以他说呢，日本的北海道 is home to， 那里有很多的超过500个 ski resorts 滑雪的这个地方啊。然后呢 ，is well known for 它非常知名的就是它粉雪滑雪。
Whistler in Canada's British Columbia has repeatedly topped lists of the best winter resorts and the most expensive.
Top 在这里是动词，就是位于顶端，位于这个名单的最上面，也是最棒的。Repeatedly 就是很多次，所以这个加拿大这一个Whistler 这个滑雪场呢，它多次赢得最佳滑雪地方的这个殊荣。
But it also looks like Christmas, basically.
看起来像这个圣诞节一样。
And in the Swiss Alps, you're spoiled for choice. You have so many choices with resorts like Zermatt and St. Moritz, both of which are super famous.
好，所以各位注意到这个片语的用法 ，You're spoiled for choice， 就是你有好多东西可以选，好像被宠坏了一样，有太多可以选了。
So we have some questions here for you, number one of which is, what does the author suggest about people from cold climates?
作者认为寒冷气候的人会有什么可能呢？
The answer is D. They will know if they like skiing or snowboarding more.
他们会知道自己比较喜欢双板滑雪或者单板滑雪。
Number two, what is not mentioned about ski poles in the passage?
关于滑雪杖，文章里面没有提到哪一个呢？
The answer is B. They can be clipped to the skis. This is not mentioned because this is not true.
好，答案是 B 啊，滑雪杖可以被夹在滑雪板上，这个没有提到，因为这不是真的。
Number 3, what is indicated about the ski resorts in the last paragraph?
关于滑雪胜地，最后一段提到什么呢？
The answer is D. A Canadian spot, Whistler, has been ranked number 1 over and over again.
加拿大的一处滑雪胜地曾经屡次被评为第一。
And number 4, which of the following is true for both skiing and snowboarding?
底下关于双板滑雪跟单板滑雪的叙述，何者为真呢？
The answer is C. Advanced skiers can ski moguls, and snowboarders enjoy practicing half-pipe tricks.
好，答案是 C。进阶滑雪玩家可以玩这个猫跳滑雪，就是那个 Mogul 啊。那同时呢，单板滑雪呢，他的玩家喜欢练习半管滑道的技巧。
And that's all we have for you on skiing and snow sports, but you should go do it if you have the chance. We'll see you next time for more